This is a tutorial on how to create self-grading Google quizzes. So you start in your Drive and go to New, and down here at More, Google Forms. You create a Google form. Used to be you had to run a script like Flubaroo or something else to score it, but we can score them now right in Google as a quiz. So I'm going to title it for my assessment. This is going to be a terms quiz. I always ask first name. That's a short answer question, required. And the next one is always last name, short answer and required, because I need that information right off the bat. The third thing I always put is the class period, because that's another way I'd like to be able to sort my data. And I always type in the options, because if I want to sort it, I want it to be the same for everybody. Not one person puts 2 and one person puts 2ND and someone else writes out second and then they don't sort the right way. So I've learned this is the fastest way to do it. Also required. Incidentally, that's the same way a multiple choice question looks, just like the class period. So I'm going to give some directions here for the way that this is going to be completed. They're going to choose a correct term based on a definition. So the question's a definition, and then they'll have choices of words. So here's my quiz, my original old-fashioned quote-unquote quiz, word bank and definitions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control-C copy and Control-V paste that definition as my question. And then I'm going to put each word into the choices, like so. Control-C copy, Control-V paste, and I'm going to make this go faster because it's boring, but you get the idea. I'm going to put all those words there. So now that I've done all those, I'm going to make it, instead of multiple choice, drop down. And I'll show you later why it's not multiple choice but drop down. So now I've got a question where they could choose any of the terms, just like it's a word bank, and it's got that definition. I'm going to click duplicate right there. So now I have the events in a story with all those choices. And I'm going to go back here and Control-C, copy my next definition, and go to my second events in a story that I copied, delete that one, and Control-V paste that definition. Duplicate, and go back and get the third definition, and so on and so forth. The thing about duplicating is all that formatting is there. All those answers are there. The required part is there. Anyway, so on and so forth. Duplicate, paste the new definition. Duplicate, paste the next definition until I get to the last one here where I've pasted in the very last definition. So that's all done. Back at the top, under settings, this is where I'm going to tell it it's a quiz. Make this a quiz. This is the new option that Google has. And there are some options right here that you have to make a decision. You want them to release immediately after each submission, meaning they get their score right away, or do they get that later on? And then some other choices here of what they're allowed to see that's pretty self-explanatory. So now that I've made my questions and answer choices and told Google, hey, this is a quiz, I need to make my answer key so it can be self-scoring. So the way that you do this is you click on the question, and at the bottom here, below the choices, you'll see answer key. Click on answer key, and the first thing you have to determine is how many points. You see the cursor flashing. How many points do you want this question to be worth? Do you want it each worth 1, and you'll just divide by how many and get a percent? You have 20 questions and want them each to be 5. Do you want some worth more than others to weight it? Totally obviously up to you what you want each question to be worth. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make it worth 1 point to keep things simple. So there we go. The second thing after you do points is you have to tell it what the right answer is to get that point or number of points. So the events that occur in the story is the plot. So there's my answer, and you'll see a green check mark. If I needed to edit the question, I'd have to click Edit Question, but I don't need to. So I'm going to go to the second question, answer key, number of points, and select the correct answer. And that's the same process for all of them. You'll also see this add answer feedback option. Incorrect answers, no, it's actually this answer, or correct answers, yay for you. Whatever you'd want your students to see, they'd get that feedback when they saw their answers whenever you decide to release them, but I'm not going to do that right now, but it's a nice option to have. So I'm going to go through the rest of these and choose the question, click answer key and choose the number of points and the correct answer. I'll scroll through this because that's boring to watch. All right, so I have 2 of the same question by accident. I duplicated something twice, which is easy to click twice. Message or central idea. I'm just going to delete. Click the trash can, and boom, it's gone. Another thing I double check when I'm looking through everything is I scroll up a little slower than I'm showing you, and I look for a green check mark and a number 1 point next to each one, just to make sure I didn't miss one where it wouldn't count or wouldn't know how to score it. I learned that the hard way. So, okay, so now I'm going to look at the color palette, and you can choose a color there or pick this little icon where you have some choices of headers. Down there at the bottom you can see you could upload your own photo, or they have these pre-templates in here that you can pick. Work and school seems like a good option. Let's pick a heart book page. That makes sense for language arts. And it takes a minute, and there we are. If you click the title of the file, it assumes it's the title of the quiz. You can rename it. You can rename it again. Just click on it and change it again. You'll notice as you do that, you'll see where it says all changes saved in Drive, saving ... all changes saved in Drive, so you know it's been saved. The next thing you need to do, when it looks like you want, is click that eyeball. This is what the students are actually looking at. This is the live form. This is the actual quiz or test, the actual website they fill out. And you'll remember I said to do the drop down, not the multiple choice. Class period, there's multiple choice, but these definitions, there's the drop down. And if you'd had all of those multiple choice listed underneath all those definitions, this would be very long. But the way this is the drop down, it keeps these definitions close together and a little less overwhelming. So that's why I pick it. You also see over there 1 point, 1 point, 1 point in light gray. That's where they would submit it. So this is what they're looking at. So now the next question is, how do I get this to my students? That's the website they need. So you could copy it, Control-C copy, and then Control-V paste into Google Classroom, Edmodo, Canvas, whatever your digital classroom world is. Or if you don't have something like that or need another option, bit.ly is a great URL shortener. So what that means, it'll bring you here. So you Control-C, copy that address, or Command-C if you have a Mac, copy that long address, and then at bit.ly you come to this box and can paste it, Control-V, and it's going to shorten it for you. So now bit.ly/2AX capital Y 8LP will get your students to that same long address and forward them to the right place. A lot shorter for them to type into the address bar. So you could write it on the board or project this, or paste it in Notes and make the font bigger, or Word and make the font bigger. Make a free bit.ly account to customize the address so it won't be random and it can be what you want, which is kind of nice. And we're teachers, so free is good. So students have taken their quiz. They've gone to that address. They filled it out. Let's skip ahead to that. So we've opened it back up, and it's on questions, but you'll see responses over there has a number. 98 students have taken that quiz for me now. So click on that, and you will see 98 responses, summary, insights, the average, the median, the range, the bar graph. There was one frequently missed question. I do show all this data to the students, by the way. Skipping over question 1 and 2 because those were names. Class period, pie graph, and then so first real question and the bar graph of the choices. Green marks the correct one, light gray is all the others, and we can go through and see what people put. Back at the top, if responses is clicked, you can click this icon to create the spreadsheet, and when you create a new spreadsheet you can see all of the data from your students' responses. It'll have the timestamp, the score, first name, last name, class period. Each column is a question at that point that you asked, and that's where you get your grades for your assessment. So this assessment, students got their score as soon as they hit submit, which the students love. But I do have one that they didn't get right away. I did that later upon manual review for this one, and so I wanted to show you what that looks like. So in responses, you'll see this other option of release scores pops up right there. Click it, and there's an option to send a message to your students. Their emails are there. You can unclick to someone you don't want to send something to, and as soon as you click send emails and release, the scores are released and they will get an email about it. This concludes the tutorial on how to create self-scoring Google quizzes. I hope you found it helpful. We'll see you next time.